Hey there, Instagram. What's up? What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing out there on this Monday afternoon? It's still afternoon. It's probably late afternoon for my folks on the East Coast. Hopefully everybody had an amazing weekend. What'd you guys do? Did you guys do anything fun? Hey, Nurse Cutie. Hey, Majority Greek. Did you guys do anything fun for the weekend? I know on the East Coast it's still a little cold, so you guys are probably indoors. At least I would be if I was on the East Coast. Ooh, it's cold. But listen up. Thank you guys for joining me on my live. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of you who are just chiming in for the very first time, I know Instagram is still letting you guys know that I am live. But for those of you who are just joining me for the very first time, I am Dr. Cozette M, America's #1 tax and accounting strategist. I work with my CEOs, my 6 and 7 figure CEOs, to help them truly understand what it is that they are doing in the organization. The money. Where's the money? Are they leaving money on the table? What about those key performance indicators that can help them get back on track? Okay, looking at their tax bill, looking at strategy, planning to help them reduce that tax liability so that this time of the year, when we go to do the compliance part of things, they don't owe. Okay, tax preparation is not just about the preparation, putting in the return. It's also about planning and preparing. And I also, you guys, I work with my tax professionals, my enrolled agents, and my CPAs, helping them really grow their organization, build that empire that they desire. You know, a lot of them quit their 9 to 5 and they start working as an entrepreneur, and then they find themselves stuck. My job is to help them go from stuck to unstoppable, eliminate some of the pain points that they have, help them understand how can they really set their prices. What can they do to leverage? Leveraging with services, leveraging with automation, leveraging with systems. Those things can help take a lot off of their plate and allow them to get their lifestyle back. You know, be the CEO that they so desire to be. All right. So I do work with them. We are a continuing education provider over here as well with the Internal Revenue Service. So for my EAs, my CPAs, my tax professionals, we offer continuing education courses. All right. So I am with a colleague of mine's today, and I'm going to see if she's on here because I've just been running my mouth. Let's see. I do see her. Yes, yes. So before she comes on in, you guys, we are talking about why you can't reduce that tax bill. What's going on? What's up? Why you can't reduce it? What are you not doing to not reduce that tax bill? So I'm going to bring my guest up. She is here. Thank you guys for joining. I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell you guys a little bit about what it is that she does as soon as we see her. Hey, everybody that's joining us. Thank you so much for coming on in. We do appreciate it. We do. Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
I'm doing just fine.
how are
Thank you so
you?
much. I so appreciate you jumping on. I know you could have been doing some returns, doing some other things, but you took a few minutes to come on and introduce yourself and just share with the community. Share with them, you know, how they can actually stop paying Uncle Sam so much. I mean, I did a preliminary, y'all. I put my numbers in this weekend. I was like, ouch. But it's okay.
Same here,
I
same
know I
here.
have until March 15th to get it right. But I did. I put my numbers in this
hmm
weekend. I
Are
am
you
an
an
S
S
corp. Yes, I
corp?
am.
Okay,
Yes.
okay,
So I
okay.
try to get a jump start and put my numbers in and do everything that I need to before I just get real busy and do everybody else's. So that way I'm not
hmm
struggling come the
hmm
12th, the 13th, the 14th and trying to figure it out. I need a game plan, y'all. I knew what the numbers were, but I finally put them in and I have the figure. So my game plan is to work it.
Yes. I'm happy for you and I commend you for that. I'm more like the hairdresser that never has their hair done. Waiting till the last minute. Like I know what everything should be, but I don't actually input it until like the very last
No, I
minute
think
just
like
because
in
I'm so busy
2017,
with
I
that
did that. I
and
waited till the
stuff.
last minute and I waited till the last minute and I waited till the last minute. Like it was October and I waited till the last minute. And I had never done that. And so, truth be told, like I waited till after October and I finally got the return in. But I got the return in, guys, because I was forced to. You know, we have to have our taxes current as a professional with the Internal Revenue Service before we can renew our PTIN. So I got that far, but I said never again. I will never put myself on the back burner. I will always do my return before I do most others. So I did. I put the numbers in, and it is what it is. So we go ahead and introduce yourself. We're just having this casual conversation. Tell the people who you are, what you do.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Jadon Johnson, founder and CEO of Lux Financial Consultancy. We're a unique firm that offers virtual CFO services as well as tax services to 6-7 figure businesses. So ultimately, we help business owners understand their financials, scale their business, and then strategically prepare for tax season. Also, I try and model my life every day as an accountant. So try to help my clients as well as my audience turn their lives into a
lifestyle.
So
it's all about the lifestyle.
That's what we do.
Yes.
Lifestyle.
Yes. And lifestyle. So many of you realize that you can turn your lifestyle into write-offs, but you got to do it legally and ethically and make sure you document. There's codes out there that can save you, but just as long as you are doing it the right way, a lot of what we do, we are eligible to write it off. So I wanted to jump into this conversation because we were talking about, you know, what are some of the things that individuals, our taxpayers, can do to help reduce that tax bill, because taxpayers are still on, and they're on because they're not planning. So can you share with them some tips that they need to do before they even come into the office? Because I can tell you guys, the last couple of days, it's that the beginning of tax season is always the worst for us, the beginning and the end. It's like a hamburger. You got the beginning, you got the bun on the top, and you got the bun on the bottom, and everything in between, you know. But the beginning, the onset is typically the time, because not only is it an adjustment for us because we have an influx of business and an influx of questions and an influx of the phone ringing. We like to prepare you guys, and we tell you guys before January. But what do they need to come into the office with? Because some of y'all still just stepping in here, uploading your stuff, and documents are missing. And I'm setting them to the side till you get them to me.
So I kind of want to break it up, right? Like, so you have tax planning, you have tax preparation. So ideally, I would recommend tax planning for an analysis of your specific situation. However, if that's not the case and you come in just for a tax preparation meeting, first thing is make sure you have all of your documents. Make sure you have all of your W-2s, your 1099s, your if you have kids, make sure you have all of their information if they can't be claimed on someone else's tax return. That's kind of like the basics, right? But then as far as reducing your tax bill, there's a few different ways. I think the biggest one would be like income shifting. So there are things that you can do if you are like a W-2 earner. You can contribute to like a traditional IRA or your 401k. And I say that because those are before taxes are taken out. So for instance, if you make $50,000, right, and you're in a 25% tax bracket, and let's say you contribute 5% to like a traditional IRA. So instead of paying taxes on that 50,000, now you're paying taxes on that, what, 47,500, if I did that math right. So the more you contribute pre-tax, the better. And then there are a lot of employers that will also match your percentage. So if the max is 6%, I would give 6% before taxes and then let the company match as well. You can also do that with like an HSA account. You can put money aside in an HSA account. I believe it rolls over year to year as well. So that's another, I guess, tax shelter that you could utilize. And then also opening a business. You know, take that income and invest it into a business and start earning profit on that. And once you open a business, that opens up a whole nother avenue of deductions and depreciation, which I call free money. But you want to make sure that you have an accountant or a professional that can ensure that you are taking all of the correct deductions and that you're not leaving anything on the table. So those are just income shifting is probably the easiest way. I think I mentioned about business owners. You want to make sure that if you have a home office, that you're getting those deductions, mileage, depreciation for any capital assets. Your accountant should be able to walk you through, like what is a deduction and what's not. So there are some timing differences between like what happens in the everyday world and what happens in tax world, but
that is
a professional should be able to help you there. And then for individuals, I want to say, because I run into this often, ensure that you have filled out your W-4 correctly. A lot of people mark tax exempt. So then when tax season gets here, they owe an astronomical amount in taxes, and that's something that could have been fixed in the beginning. So those are just a few ways.
So why do you think so many people check that box to go exempt, and then they just all of a sudden forget, or they think, oh, I'm gonna change it because I got a bonus coming, and then I'll fix it after I get that bonus. What's up with that?
So I've heard there are a few scenarios that I've heard. I've heard that people have been advised to do tax exempt half the year, and then the other half of the year not do tax exempt. I don't know why that person may have been given that advice outside of if they were doing some type of tax planning that was specific to their situation. So I have heard that. I also have heard the bonus thing. I want to get the full amount of my bonus, not realizing you still have to pay taxes on that bonus, whether you do it now or later. You still have to pay taxes on that bonus. So I think those are probably the two that I've heard, or they're starting a business, and maybe their first year in business, and they're expecting to have a loss. And so maybe that loss will offset some of that W-2 income.
Yeah, there's quite a different,
that may
there's
be
quite
the
a few
biggest.
Why some of them, let me take this off because one of my earbuds are out. Hold on real quick, you guys. I'm sorry. All right, can you hear me?
I could get all these notifications.
Oh, wait.
Yes, I can hear you.
It's just telling me that I got feed. All right, that's so much better. One of them was dead. All right, so yes. So those are some of the reasons, you guys, why people do decide to go exempt on the checks when they fill out that form W-4. But it's not always advised to go exempt on your W-4, you guys. I don't care if you call yourself playing the game half year exempt, the rest of the year you want to do your deductions, because sometimes if you're not going to an advisor to help you complete that, you're either going to come out as a loss one way. You're going to be getting back too much money. And you guys may say, well, what is too much money? When you're getting money back from the Internal Revenue Service, truth be told, is you're just giving them a loan. That's your money, but you're giving them a loan. So why is it that we need to give the Internal Revenue Service a loan? And it's not just that. Think about the millions and millions and millions of taxpayers that we have. And if everybody is giving the IRS a loan, guess what? The IRS is accumulating interest. We talk about compound interest. They're getting interest on our money. Okay, so we need to learn to stop giving them loans. And we also need to learn that a large refund is not financially sound. It is not financially sound. It is not what the rich do. It is not what the wealthy do. I have some clients, truth be told, I have some clients in here, most of their income, we're talking about more mature, but their income is all interest. It's interest. they have a refund. Let me tell you what they do, you guys. Let me tell you what they do. Now, this is not what all taxpayers do, but what they do is when they get that refund, they roll it over to the next year, whether it be on the federal and the state. They don't even get that refund because they know that at some point they owe, so they just continue to turn that refund over to the IRS. Now, if that's what they choose to do, that's okay. They living on interest anyway. They wealthy. They living on interest anyway. So we got to be smarter. So what are some things that you have seen as a professional over the years that has raised a red flag? Raised a red flag. And I tell people to put the brakes on. I actually stopped doing returns this Friday and Saturday on purpose with some of my clients because I knew that some documents were not received that I should have received, such as the state of California. But some of our taxpayers got the middle class payout, whatever it is, the middle class payout. And so I knew that these clients got them, but they did not turn in their Form 1099 miscellaneous. So rather than me hear them on the back end say, I forgot to give you this, or I got this today, I said, I'm going to stop filing returns on select clients because I know that things are missing. And so what are some of the things that you see clients attempt to omit, or they omit and they get caught up in the end?
So speaking of omission, let's just back up a little bit. So omission knowingly is tax evasion, which is illegal. So if you are, and I tell people this all the time, if you know you have W-2s, you know you have 1099s, the IRS is waiting on you. They already have record of it. So they're waiting on you to file your tax return. So if you omit that information knowingly, that is tax evasion. So I think what I've seen, like you said, they will omit W-2s or they don't get a 1099. They don't get a 1099 and they don't report that income. But typically the business owner is reporting that as an expense, whoever is paying them. So I have seen omission of W-2s and 1099s. The other red flag for business owners is probably the blurred lines, maybe with business expenses, and determining what is a business expense and what is not a business expense. I always see business owners like go to the chiropractor or maybe that's not covered in insurance, like chiropractor, or they'll try to write off any medical expense that's not covered under the insurance. That seems to be a big one. And also you want to make sure that your expenses and your income are not disappropriated. Like if you made $50,000 and you spent $35,000 in travel, what are you doing? And it doesn't make sense for your business, for your business purpose. Then, you know, that's a red flag. Also, I think that, so when you say if you do an LLC, you file an article of organization, you are signing saying that I am opening this business for a profit. So I always say 3 out of 5 years. You start, so if you for 5 years are claiming a loss, that's a red flag to the IRS because you said you opened this business for profit, not a nonprofit, a profit. So I think that's another red flag. Earned income credit.
That's always a flag. That's a flag all around. That's a flag. That's an obvious one, as well as the tax preparer. So it's about that due diligence. And y'all know up in this office that if you don't have the documents, then the return will just sit. It will just sit. So if you're a new client to me, you got earned income tax credit, which I don't have that many. I added them up. Most of my clients are business clients. I added them up. I have 21 EIC clients. They're not my favorite.
I don't think I even last year. I don't know.
They're not my favorite.
I had 2. Most of my clients are my
Yeah,
CFO clients. So, I mean, I already know
exactly.
pretty much what's going on.
Exactly. So another thing that I saw, because it's in my they uploaded it to the portal, is burial costs. Listen, guys, I just because you had a funeral last year, um, condolences, but you cannot write off the burial fees and all of that for your parents, your kids, whomever you had to go bury. It's not a tax write-off. Okay, it's not a tax write-off.
It's
It's just a thing that
nowhere
happened
in
in
the
life
code.
and you had to pay out to bury someone, but we cannot write it off. I'm being serious. And I get at least 1 to 2 every year. Every year somebody tries to slip that receipt in there. Business owners as well, you guys try to slip it in as a business expense and think you can figure out a way to write it off, but it's not an expense. Okay, it's an expense, but it's your household expense, your personal expense. Speaking of that, commingling, that's over there in the personal. It just shouldn't even be paid for out of the business checking account. None of the business credit cards. That should have been paid for out of your personal account. If you are a business owner, you should be taking a draw, or you should cut yourself a check if you're S Corp, C Corp, and you put that check over into your personal account, and that's where you pay the burial fees, not from the company. Okay. Now, if it was an employee and maybe you're trying to help the family out, that's a whole nother conversation there. But we're not talking about that right now.
Yep. Another one that I see a lot is childcare. Business owners want to put childcare under as a business expense when it's really on your 1040. You don't have to put it as under your business expense. So I think that's another blurred line.
Charitable
too,
contributions. Yes, charitable
especially this year.
You all be careful. If you are into that business tax return, you definitely want to be careful. So, as a taxpayer, what are some things that they really should avoid? I know we just touched on a few, but like, what do they really need to avoid so that they don't cause themselves to have an audit just because? Yeah, their entire life.
Outside
if
of
you
what
can
we've
think of
already
anything
mentioned.
else, let me give everybody a shout out. Hey, the finance Femi, I hope that Fem, my dear Ariane, is Mia Monette,
Ariane,
Nursing Life, Nursing is Life, your CFO on the go, the finance Fem, Chance, how you doing, Chance? Atlanta Coultry. Okay, so if I missed you, hey, thank you for joining us. We so appreciate you. We do appreciate you joining us in this conversation. We're talking about why you can't reduce your tax bill. What's going on? Why you can't really reduce it. We've given you a few tips on some of the things that you can possibly do. We've also shared some things with you, what you should not do in order to avoid having the IRS knock at your door. In order to avoid the IRS sending out those notices that will come. Typically, guys, when we transmit that file and the IRS gets it, sometimes it really depends. Within a few weeks, you could get a notice, or those notices will definitely come out in the summer. If it's something seriously going on, they may wait. They may do some investigation, but you're going to get the notice. You're definitely going to get it. Okay? So don't think that
and they have up to 7 years to go back. No, I was saying they can go back a few years. It's not like just because you didn't get it for this year doesn't mean next year.
Right. And if it's fraud, they can go back longer than just a few years. So just keep that in mind, you guys. So I know we talked about problems. I don't know, and I can't even remember what the problem. I don't even know if you answered it. Let me just go there. We were talking about problems that we have with growing in our companies. Let's talk about those systems, automation, problems that we have with just the fact of just growing. Can you share an instance that prevented you from moving in the direction in which you wanted to?
Yeah, I mean, really exactly what you just mentioned. I think the biggest thing for business owners, even my clients that I see, is scaling the business. So you, as a business owner, you have the creativity, you know how to bring in the revenue. Now it's about, do I have the people to support the amount of clients that I'm bringing in? Do I have the systems, the processes in place to support the amount of revenue that I have coming in? So I think that's where the shift happens as a business owner. Speaking of the finance fam, she's in here now. She's my coach, and so I think that's where I was last year. I was at a point where I had to stop taking clients just because it was just me. And so I went through her program. So we've hired. We have also written SOPs, procedures, put systems in place, CRM systems in place.
Yes.
And it has been a game changer. She always says, do you want to be an owner? Do you want to be an operator? Do you want to sell your business? I think you have to
Exactly.
start there and then
End
work
in mind.
backwards. Some of the best advice I received as a business owner, and for any other business owners that may be in here now, is to be present in whatever season you're in your business. So if right now for me, if it's scaling, be all in scaling your business. If it's growing the business, then be all in growing the business, whether that's some type of email marketing, social media marketing, whether you're doing speaking engagements, whether you're sending out mailings, whatever that may be, just be present in whatever season.
Right. And so for me, when you say scaling is one of the best, you guys, because I did a reel a couple of weeks back about making sure that as you are scaling, there is a difference, you all, between an independent contractor and an employee. When you are scaling, you are bringing employees, qualified individuals onto your staff that will allow you to scale. We can only do so much, you all. So when we bring highly qualified staff, when we hire them as an employee, that means as a business owner, we're paying the workman's compensation. We're paying the federal the federal taxes, employer taxes. We're paying the state employer taxes. When you bring on an employee, then you as an organization, the organization is ultimately going to grow. You should know that when you bring on any individual into your organization, you should have a threshold or a dollar amount that they should be, a revenue amount that they should be bringing into the organization. So if you hire 2 people, how much are they contributing to the bottom line? How much should you see your organization grow? Okay. There shouldn't be a reason why if you're scaling and you're bringing in an individual, your revenue is not increasing as well. So I'm glad you brought that up about the scaling and about the growing. When you are growing, you're still implementing, you're still executing and putting systems in place, your standard operating procedures. For those of you who may not have heard what's an SOP, it's a standard operating procedure. I look at the SOP as something totally different as the company's guidelines, procedures. An SOP is standard. It's a standard operating procedure. How do we apply cash? How do we handle onboarding? How do we manage sending out stamps? I don't know, just something, but it's an operating procedure. A policy is a guideline in which we cannot deviate. It sets the tone for the organization. So 2 different things. And when you have gotten, I'm not going to say when you've gotten past this growth phase that you start implementing those SOPs, because you should be implementing SOPs along the way, you all. I can honestly say, and you can concur with me if you agree, those SOPs change because you're constantly changing, you're constantly elevating, next leveling, and you're constantly changing and moving. And if you're bringing on employees, those employees should be bringing on new, innovative ideas to help you streamline and do things more effectively and efficiently.
Yes. And I will say, I feel like it's probably the thing that people put on the back burner standards and procedures when it's really a make or break, right? If you're hiring people and you have all these ideas, you know the process in your mind. Like I can onboard somebody, in an hour. However, if I want to hire somebody to onboard, they don't know what's in my head. So I think putting it on paper and walking through the process, having a checklist,
Workflows.
or you don't want to also hire somebody and bring them
Right.
to a
Right.
mess, for a better term, without having,
Right.
like a process
We
for
want
them
those
to follow.
workflows
So,
because they help. They really do help. Hmm.
mhm.
So where can the listeners, the viewers follow you at?
Um, so I am on Instagram, Lux underscore financial underscore consultancy. I'm also on Facebook, Lux Financial Consultancy, and then I'm also on
All right. So
LinkedIn
you
under
guys
Jadon
heard it
Lux.
first where you can actually follow her. You guys can follow me on all social media outlets. I am at Cozette M White. With the exception of YouTube, I'm under Dr. Cozette M White. Just really quickly, I would like to just put this out there for my tax professionals, my enrolled agents, my CPAs. If you guys have not heard about Thrive Live, it is the premier conference for our tax professionals, enrolled agents, and CPAs. It is May 11th here in Los Angeles, California. If you're stuck under a rock and you're tired of doing the same thing over and over again and you're ready to go to unstoppable, I guarantee you Thrive Live is for you. Not only will you be trained by myself, America's #1 tax and accounting strategist, and I'll tell you what I'm going to be teaching on, but you'll also have the opportunity to earn up to 12 hours that will be reported to the Internal Revenue Service. We've locked down our educators, we've locked down our trainers. The vast majority of them are ex agents with the Internal Revenue Service, whether they were in collections, auditing, or whatever. But we have a phenomenal lineup of educators. But if you're ready to get rid of those limited beliefs that continue to block you from moving forward, maybe you're stuck, you don't want to raise your prices. Is something going on upstairs that's really blocking you from moving forward? Maybe you don't have a strategy. At the end of April, the beginning of May, we're going to have a great idea of where we are with our revenue for this year. So the strategy that I'm going to help you guys with is to help you reach that next goal. Whatever that next goal is, we want to make sure that you hit it by December 31st. We're going to be looking at pricing. I'm known for pricing. The profit margins must be in alignment, you guys. We're going to look at our pricing, our packaging, and our proposals. We're going to look at our messaging and our marketing. Our marketing is how we get found. Our messaging is how we make our convert. If we're not converting, if our messaging is off, then we're not converting and we're not being found. And guess what? We are not collecting the bag. If we're not collecting the bag, then guess what? We might have one of those years where we have a loss. What did we say? 3 out of 5 years you can have a loss. How do you
3 out of 5
leverage?
years.
Yes. How
That's
do
a
you
red
leverage?
flag.
Many of you say that you wish you had other services. You need to leverage with services, but you need to leverage your business by scaling with systems, automation, and your team. Systems, automation, and your team. Those are the things that we are going to concentrate on at Thrive Live. All you got to do to find out all the information and grab your seat, because I'm telling you guys, you do not want to miss this. It is the premier conference for 2023 for our tax professionals. Click the link in my bio. Just click the link in my bio. Stay tuned. Continue to follow me. I will be dropping all of our success panels as well as our educators over the next month. All right. Any last words you want to leave, Jadon?
It is tax season. Do not wait till the last minute.
And I'm gonna concur.
If you can, start gathering your documents now. We actually have a process in place where once you create your account, you can start uploading documents as you get them, save, come back. But I would not recommend waiting till the last minute.
All right. You guys heard her. She said don't wait till the last minute, because guess what? The last minute, we may just say extension. That's it. That's it. There's a cutoff date.
It is an extension. And I have a cutoff.
Cut it. We're not working. We don't do this anymore. We don't stress. We here from January 1 until we say here's the last day to get those documents in. If they're not in, guess what? you paying a fee, and there is a fee, get it right, to file an extension. It's not free. I just want y'all to know that, because y'all be like, when did you start charging? I've always charged for extensions. Okay. So with that being said, you guys, listen, make sure you get your documents ready. Jadon, thank you so much for spending this 40 minutes with me. I do appreciate it. Yes, you are so welcome.
You for having me.
To any of you all, make sure you continue to follow both of us. We're here on Instagram. She's already given you her handle. You see it right there on her page. You see mine's Dr. Cozette M. White, or Cozette M. White. All right, you guys take care, and we'll see you on the next live. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.